Hello students, welcome to the pole science of class 11 arts, and today we will proceed understanding about the important points related to the chapter freedom. So after the 30% deduction of the CBSE's present curriculum, this chapter is there. After deduction also, this chapter number 2 freedom is from part B of the pole science book, which is political theory. So let us proceed understanding about these important points. So if we say about freedom, it means liberty and freedom. So liberty and freedom are synonyms of each other, but there are some fundamental differences between these two. So regarding liberty and freedom, we have already discussed earlier also about understanding both these two terms. These are actually the synonyms of each other, but liberty and freedom have different meanings. When we talk about liberty, it is taken from the Latin word libertatem, which means the condition of a freedom. That means if we say liberty, liberty is just one condition related to the term freedom. Whereas freedom comes from the English word freedom, which means state of free will. That means if we talk about liberty, liberty is just one aspect or one side of freedom, but freedom is being termed as a state where free will is there. It means state of free will as a whole. So freedom is a liberty to do whatever a person likes to do, or a positive power of doing and enjoying the worth of work. So when we talk about freedom, freedom is actually a liberty. It is actually a freeness to do whatever a person likes to do, or a positive power of doing and enjoying the worth of work. That means if you are getting freedom, that means you are having that freeness to do anything that you like, or you can also say that apart from liking anything that you did earlier, or freedom may also be defined as a positive power of doing. Whatever you are doing, it is in the positive side of doing, and along with doing, that means that you are enjoying the work also while you are doing. So freedom has two aspects, that is positive and negative. That means as I have said that freedom in a true sense can be defined as what? When you are enjoying the work also while doing. So that means if you are enjoying the work while doing, that means it is in a positive state of mind. But freedom has two aspects, both positive and negative. So positive freedom refers to those rights which do not reach any harm to others if enjoyed, as well as essential for an individual's development. That means if we talk about positive freedom, by the word itself, you can easily define that positive freedom is what? It is nothing but state of enjoying things without disturbing others. That means if you are enjoying doing your work and you are free to do whatever you like, but in that scenario, please ascertain that while you are doing the thing that you like, it should not create any disturbance to the others. By your work, others should not be disturbed. So that kind of freedom can be related to the positive sides of freedom. Whereas negative freedom implies the absence of any restraints on freedom. That means if we talk about negative freedom can be stated as what? Absence of any restraints. Absence of any restraints can be related to, that means no restrictions are there while you are enjoying the freedom. Some restrictions should also be there, like while you are enjoying to do the work according to your own will, that means you should also keep in mind that others should not be disturbed by your act. So when these restraints, these impositions, restrictions will not be there on freedom, that freedom can turn into a negative freedom, because you will not care of anyone while you are enjoying or doing the work through the freedom. Clear? It means that absence of any restraints means there are no restrictions on your freedom. So that will turn into a negative freedom. While freedom can be classified as natural freedom, civil freedom, political freedom, economic freedom, religious freedom, and individual freedom. So as we have already studied that liberty is just an one side related to freedom, but freedom as a whole can be classified into various types. Starting from number one, it can be natural freedom also, it can be civil freedom also, it can be political freedom also, it can be economic freedom also. Likewise, it can be religious freedom and individual freedoms also. So this can go on being classified into various types like natural, civil, political, economic, religious, individual. It will look into every aspect of the freedom. Clear? Now, coming to the next point, various safeguards have been provided for freedom, that is democratic setup, equal rights for all, economic security, constitutional provisions, etc. That means safeguards have been provided for freedom. That means if we are given freedom through our constitution, that means safeguarding that has also been provided. Suppose a democratic setup has been provided where equal rights are given to all. Equal rights, when we talk about the democratic setup and when we talk about the equal rights related to democratic setup, we can say that universal adult franchise is being given to us. That means irrespective of gender, irrespective of caste, religion, we are given the universal adult franchise. That means the right to vote. A person who attains the age of 18 will of course get the right to vote, be it the male or female, or be he or she belongs to any caste, but that political right will be given to all. So these are some of the safeguards that have been done for providing the freedom. After that, freedom of expression require non-interference or should not be restricted because it is a fundamental value to be possessed by the people. So one more important thing related to freedom is that our expression, which is also known as the freedom of expression. That means what we want to express, what we want to talk about, anything that we are feeling positive or negative about, that we need to express that. And this freedom of expression requires non-interference. That means whatever, everyone has the right to freedom of interference, freedom of expression, and it should be non-interference. That means it should not be interfered by anyone. All should have the equal freedom of expression to express, and it should not be restricted simply because it is a fundamental value to be possessed by the people. It is to be given. It should not be restricted or interfered by anyone, because this is one important aspect in a democratic country, because everyone, when they will give the expression whatever he or she thinks about the government's work or about anything else, this should be given value and it should not be interfered or restricted. Everyone has the right to say in a democratic country, suppose like India. So this is one very important aspect of the freedom. Clear? So though a number of times the demands have been raised to ban books, films, articles, journals, etc. But then also many times what happens, various times we have seen in a country like India that demands have been raised to ban books, some books which are thought to be controversial, some films which are thought to be again controversial, in the sense that these films which are made can hurt the sentiment of other religion. Some articles, some journals are also like that. So when these kind of things happen, then the demands actually raised to ban all these things. Banning is an easy solution for the short term to meet the immediate demand, but it is very harmful for long term prospects of freedom in a society. So if anything is thought to be controversial, like releasing of books, releasing of films, articles and journals, if it is banned immediately for the shorter period of time, you can say that it will solve that problem. But when this immediate action is taken, it can actually hamper the long term prospects of freedom, because in the longer tenure of time, it can actually hamper, because of the fact that banning is not a solution, but discussion is must for all those things, and everything can be solved with discussions. Because once begin to ban, then develops a habit of banning. Constants of different kinds thus exist, and we are subject to them in different situations. So, as a result, as a concluding part, banning in a democratic process is not a good thing, because if banning becomes started, then it becomes a habit. So, apart from banning, the other solution must be seen at, where it can be solved through discussions, and or in instead of banning all these things, different solutions can be made out so that constraints or restrictions on everything should not be imposed in a democratic country like India, because this can be related to freedom of expression also. So, if this kind of banning and restrictions are imposed, we can say that it is actually against the process of democratic ideology which is going on in a democratic country. So, with this, I will wind up today's topic related to the discussions of important points related to the chapter freedom. Please make a note down of all this in your copy. Thank you.